So today is episode 99 of the Deep Dives. We're going to be talking a little bit about this whole thing about God in the Old Testament supposedly being a God of judgment, of, this stuff, which is supposedly different than him being a God of love in the New Testament. We're going to be talking about that. Dester's going to be talking about his latest musical investigations, I guess we could say.
Yeah, that's good.
But I guess that's episode 99 in a nutshell.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
All right.
I have one question for both of you jokers.
Okay.
I went to sleep last night it was later because we had class last night, gun club, Hollow Point, and I went to bed a little late. For me, it was 9:30, maybe even 10. I may have stayed long, and I woke up. And my question to y'all is: did somebody pick Pensacola up and bring it somewhere up north and drop it above the Mason-Dixon line? Because it's not the same world it was whenever I went to sleep last night.
Yeah, it's like cold and humid and all that stuff. I absolutely love this weather right now, though.
You do? You love the cold?
I love Pensacola cold.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Under 50.
Yeah, because it's cold enough to where the air feels crisp and you feel that chill. You need a coat on, stuff like that. Because for 99.9% of our year, it's just insufferably hot.
Yep.
And you walk from the house to the car and you're drenched in
You're
sweat.
already drenched.
Yeah.
It's humidity. It's not.
Yeah. And so I absolutely love this weather that we're having right now.
I
It's
like the
uncomfortably
change.
cold, but I want to be that way for a little bit.
I like the change of weather. But what I would normally, I would leave you all and I'd go to the woods and ride. I'm not even going to do that today. I mean, I like to think of myself as a he. Y'all would agree. I'm a he-man, right? I'm a masculine kind of guy. I can't walk around looking like this without getting that reputation. It's under 50 degrees, man. I'm thinking I'm not going to ride today. 50 degrees, but it's a cold 50.
Yeah,
I think is it 47, something like that?
Yeah, when I looked at my my weather app on the way here, it said 48.
48, okay.
Yeah.
And I think it's dropping. However, I do feel like a wimp because I've been watching on I've discovered some other shows, policing in Alaska. I'll just call it that. There's several. That's the genre, right? But there's several shows, under that genre. And man, these guys and girls are out there policing this vast, area of Alaska. They're showing it's -3 with a wind chill factor of -20 something.
Yep.
And they're out there doing their thing, and I'm, in 60-degree weather going, man.
All of Pensacola shuts down if it dips below 32.
I know, it's so true.
We used to get emails from the schools and all that stuff like, oh, it's 31 degrees. We're going to have to shut down. Especially on days where we get like a 1/10 of an inch of snow.
Right. Well, our listeners and viewers from other places may think you're exaggerating. But case in point, my wife works for the Department of Defense, and she's able to work at home this week because the heat's not working at her office. And she's been there 2 days, and it wasn't even below 60 almost. But in the building, it was probably high 50s. But they sent them home to work it from home.
Just cold enough to where when everybody comes into the building, it heats it up to 68.
That's right. So she's thrilled. She loves working from home, but because she can take care of her mother a lot better. But anyway,
how did your Thanksgiving go? Because we took 2 weeks off.
We did.
One for Thanksgiving and the other one because I was out of town.
Right.
I was down in South Florida doing engineering stuff.
Right. It went well, Chris. I'm sorry. He asked me that whenever I came in, but I had not totally prepared for for what I was going to talk
You're not
about.
supposed to say that
Well,
on screen.
I knew what I was going to say. I just didn't have it organized. So Chris asked me that, and I had to cut him off. But and say, let me get
Don't
organized.
talk to me.
Yeah,
He's hurt my feelings already.
I need to prepare for my screen time.
no eye contact. Please walk 5 feet behind me.
This doesn't
Talent.
happen by chance.
That's right.
Y'all don't realize this. We have an $800,000 budget. Cost me $801,000 for y'all's makeup each
That's
week.
right. That's right. That's right. We had a great Thanksgiving, and the reason is that I simply went over to Donna's house, spent time with her and her mother. We had Faneris Brothers Pizza, which has turned into be a tradition for us.
Okay.
Pizza has been a tradition. We usually get it from Sabaros, but we decided to do Faneris Brothers. If you've never had it, man, it's just a.
Did you happen to have the smothered pizza?
I don't know what it was. Donna got it. Let me tell you, I don't care what it is. If it's from Faneris, I'm eating it.
Yeah.
And we eat it for 3 days. She got a medium. We ate it for 3 and 4 days, man. It was just phenomenal. Smothered pizza, is that what you're calling it?
Yeah, smothered pizza is one. It's a large. I'm a big guy. I can eat one piece. And I'm sitting there going, "Oh my God,
It's
I can't
meaty,
eat
man."
I mean, and so
Right.
we buy one of those. It's like $25, $26. We bring it home, and it's one slice a day. So you've got like another 4 days, like you
So
said.
true.
The pizza's like that thick, so
And it's
you can't
always
beat it.
made perfectly. The
I like their
texture,
pizza, yeah.
everything about it.
And I'm a diehard pizza fan. Like I will eat pizza 24/7.
Is that right? Okay.
Well, not 24. I'll eat 7 days a week. There
Yeah.
we go.
Right.
But like on Thanksgiving, like this is the one holiday where like there's no social demands on us as a family.
And that- yep.
We get to stay
Yes.
home. We get to do our own thing, whatever.
Yeah.
And so we always it always ends up becoming like the same food we eat every Thanksgiving, but we look forward to it so much because this is the one time of the year that we have this food.
Yeah.
And so, we do the traditional, turkey, mashed potatoes.
Your
all that
whole
stuff.
families are cooks or bakers or how.
Oh yeah,
to
we
throw
all
a feast.
love doing stuff in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And so my brother-in-law, we built a smoker in my backyard several years ago, and so he'll smoke a turkey. And it's so delicious, so juicy, so
Man, oh,
flavorful.
man.
And inside we'll do typical like green beans, mashed potatoes, butternut squash, sweet potato casserole, apple crisp, pumpkin pie, all that kind of stuff, and stuffing, and we just. My wife, she makes homemade yeast rolls,
Jeez,
which are just to die for, and they're like encased in butter, and it's like there's nothing healthy about it
No.
whatsoever.
But there's no
it's
guilt either.
Yeah, who cares?
Yeah.
The camera, the extra 10 pounds is all camera,
Trying to get more cameras on you now.
right? But
Disclaimer: we are not responsible for the 86 pounds you just gained.
and it's just an amazing day. It's relaxing. Yeah. We spend a bunch of time cooking. We eat until we pass out. We wake up a little bit later and we do it again. And it's just an amazing time. And I did absolutely no work, and it was amazing.
Great! That's amazing right there.
Yeah, I was supposed to, but I didn't, and I don't feel bad about it. But
Phew.
yeah,
Good. Chris, how'd your Thanksgiving? What'd you and J-Dale do?
Jadelle likes to do like that. She does traditional. So we did the turkey, the dressing, the cranberry sauce. She cooked gobs and gobs and gobs of food. And for like 3 days over that time, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, we had people over at different
Okay.
points in time.
Linda said she went over with you guys.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Linda Davis came over with us, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We just pigged out, and we did a Boston butt. We did the turkey, and then I tried a new 200-year-old recipe that I found with potatoes and turkey drippings and bacon and onions and all this kind of stuff.
All right.
But I was accused of being like 200 years old because that's what the person that heard it thought I said it took 200 years to make.
That's funny.
Well, we had a lot of fun, though.
Good. Fantastic. It's good. Thanksgiving is really what I would hope Christmas would be.
Right.
A time for non-judgment, obligatory things happening.
Right.
Right. Like you described, it's just you're just sitting around and you're enjoying each other, and you're hopefully with the people you want to be with, or at least can tolerate.
Right. Yeah. No, that's why Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday of the year,
right.
because of all that. Like, we're now neck deep in Christmas season, and we've just spent a couple $1,000s on travel plans to go up to New England again, and while it's great, I like my my family up there. Just like every year, it's the same thing. It's travel stress and obligation to participate in everything, and all this stuff. And it's cool while we're in it, But it's just a lot. It's one of those things where like you come back and you just think, man, I need a vacation.
Yep. Right.
Because I'm just worn out.
Sure.
It's not a relaxing time. It's a fun time. It's not a relaxing time.
Right. Yeah. Are you going to do any of your genealogy studies while you're up there this year?
I'm undecided.
Okay.
It depends on what all is going on around it.
Okay.
Usually I have an opportunity one of the days we're up there to sort of split off from everybody and go do my own thing. And so if I have that opportunity again, I will. But we're not going to be up there as long as we usually are.
I got you.
I'm hoping. Yeah.
Before we started recording, I started saying something, and we got back to it, and I forgot what it was. I remembered.
Okay.
And it was this. If you have time, I would think it would be really cool if you just whip out your phone and do something for the podcast while you're up there. If it's studying something scriptural or just your genealogy, whatever it is, I think it would be really cool to just, you know what I'm saying? Just think about that while you're up there.
There's a couple things I think would be really cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. So, you come back and you do that. You go up there about once a year, and as long as we've known each other, you've told me some of the things you do, and I thought, man, that'd be really cool to talk more about.
Right.
Because that city around there, just not even biblical, but your family, they have deep, deep roots there.
Yeah, my mom's side of the family does. Yeah.
So just that in itself might be fun. But anyway,
it actually kind of made my wife mad. Not mad, but because her family's all from up there and has always been there. Eventually came down from Canada because they're French Canadian, all this stuff. And so she was, my wife was always like, we're the New England part of the family. And then as I started digging into my genealogy and realizing that on my mom's side, we've been there since like the 1600s before her family got there. And not only that, but there's historical stuff up there with my family's name on it. Now she's like,
so where's your family? Honey, I think your family worked for my family. I'm not exactly sure, but perhaps.
Anyway. Your family bought land from...
I think you still owe us money. So, all right. So that would be cool. That'd be cool to do.
Yep.
Let me transition over to some music stuff. Things I've been listening to.
2 weeks supply now.
2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks supply. Well, I go into this store that it's a antique store. Antique store, if you don't know, 2 or 3 knocks above, good ones anyway, can be 5 knocks above a thrift store, right? There's stuff that the high-end thrift things go into antique stores, and some of the really good stuff in antique stores won't even make it into thrift stores because they're just too good. So they've been vetted, and it's organized a lot better, and there's booths where individuals own these booths, and you can, there's not really I don't think there's a general pricing, like things have to, you can buy a CD in one booth for $2. You could buy a same CD in another booth for 99 cents, right? Yeah. I think they make their own prices. So I go. It's one of my favorite ones to go into on Navy Boulevard. What's the name of it? Pink, is it Pink or it's not? I always think of your wife's podcast whenever I hear it.
Pixie.
I think of Pixie Princess when I hear it, but I don't remember. But anyways, they always run specials, and so I go in there, and they have a small wall of CDs, and I found my favorite CDs in this place.
Isn't it troubling that CDs are now considered antique?
I used to worry about that, but now I think I'm hitting gold mines, man, because everybody's giving their CDs away, and I'm
vintage.
That's right. I'm vintage in my vintage car, my vintage CD player.
Imagine my dilemma. I'm actually trying to find a VCR right now because I have a whole bunch of VHS-C tapes.
Oh, my
that I'm
gosh.
trying to digitize. I've got 33 of them.
Oh, really?
And I'm trying to run them through stuff. And VCR. Everybody and their brothers, cousins, everybody had
one too.
I walked in a thrift store and it's like, and the kids in this and they VC.
No, they didn't even know what it was.
Yeah,
When you used to be able to rent a VCR from Blockbuster.
Oh yeah, the plastic case thing.
Had the case. Yep. Y'all are old. Okay, so I'm going through these CDs, and the way I do it is I go through the CDs. If I'm at all interested, I take it out. Take it out, and then I'll vet them whenever I get all the ones out. Man, I end up with a stack of about 15, and I'm staring at this, and I turn around and I look at the lady working. I said, "Who's responsible for this?" And she knew what I was talking about.
Yeah.
I said, "I'm going to spend $20 in here with all these CDs." She said, "I think it's you for liking music so much." But anyway, so I go through there, and I end up with about this many. And man, they're just so good. Some of them bring me back to my childhood. Some of them I never really listened to, but know who they are, and getting to know them now is fun. Like Steely Dan I listened to a lot. Steely Dan Gold. This is a cornerstone CD for Steely Dan. This is a really, really good bunch of music. They're very unique, and maybe I'll do a deep dive into them, but they're very unique. So I got that one. This Eagles, The Long Run. Eagles have many CDs, a lot of albums, a lot of music. This is one that I really fell in love with, that Kent and my other buddies, they liked, but they didn't like it as much as I did. It's just one that this brings me back to, oh man, yeah. Like the B-sides. You ever heard of B-side music? So this a B-side was coined whenever albums were popular, and they're the non-popular songs, but they're really good, and you really like them better. You don't hear them on the radio so much. Bob Dylan's greatest hits. By the way, Bob Dylan has like 50 greatest hits CDs, but this one has a bunch.
They're all great.
They're all great, but man, this one has a bunch of Rainy Day Woman, Blowing in the Wind, It Ain't Me, Babe. No, it ain't me, babe. By the way, that's a really good render. It sounded just like
Bob Dylan was in the room with us.
Whenever you think of Bob Dylan with that nasally, this is what this album is. This is what this CD is. This was him. I can't remember what year it was. I can't even see it. But it was vintage Bob Dylan. Natalie Merchant. Mm-hmm. You remember Natalie Merchant?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it doesn't have the cover, but this is the color of it. Natalie Merchant, Tiger Lily. Donna and I were listening to this while we were riding around the other day, and she said, "I wonder what happened to her. Because she was really popular, but then you don't hear anything from her." Very good background music, if you will, kind of jazzy, but upbeat, and some of it is really slow. It's very dynamic. But I loved Natalie Merchant also. Let me see. Here's a couple more. Molly Hatchet. You've said Molly Hatchet. Your brother knows people from Molly Hatchet, I think, Chris.
No, not Molly Hatchet. No, it's he knew Allman Brothers and Atlanta Rhythm Section, like those guys.
Atlanta Rhythm Section. That's who it was. Molly Hatchet, same genre, Southern rock. He sounds like again, perfect rendition.
Copyright strike.
That's right. Flirting with Disaster. Does that sound familiar? Flirting with Disaster.
I mean, I do that on the daily.
I know you do. So this was more regional. I think they're from. Think Leonard Skinner, Southern rock and roll. I think they're from Jacksonville, if I'm not mistaken. So it was a little bit more regional. Where I'm from, very, very popular. Grew up with it. Great. Now here's one that it might be. It can't be valuable. Maybe it is. I don't know. But I've never seen it. But I like it. Fillmore, The Last Days of the Hall of Fillmore. So Fillmore was a place that people went to. It was on the regular circuit of the bands from the 70s. If you went to the Fillmore, it's like you have made it. You know, everybody went and played at the Fillmore, and it was like a weekly thing. So people would show up, and it'd just be a weekly fun time. Grateful Dead, Elvin Bishop. Let's see who else. Bill Graham, Tower of Power, Boss Skaggs. These were the last weeks of the Fillmore recorded live.
I guess you would call that maybe like Grand Ole Opry of rock.
Something like that. Yeah, back in the day. Yep. The one guy, let's see, Bill Graham presents in San Francisco. So it was a place in San Francisco, a theater in San Francisco, very intimate, but big enough, and people wanted to play there. Everybody that was real popular played there. Okay. So this is a discovery that I made this morning. Not the CD or the music itself. I found Blood, Sweat, and Tears at the same place that I found these other ones. Does a song come to mind whenever I say Blood, Sweat, and Tears? Because I guarantee you know at least two of their songs.
I've heard the name.
Okay. All right. You've made me so very happy. I'm so glad you. Come on, guys.
Nope.
No? Oh, I might be wrong then.
I might have to hear the song.
Okay. Let's see. Let's see. God bless America. I love you more than the least. The spinning wheel. Spinning wheel.
That I've heard.
Okay. Spinning wheel.
Round and round.
Maybe.
Okay. They're really good. This is one of the bands that I didn't give a lot of attention to in the 70s, but I'm learning about them now, and they have everything, except for the female singer. They have all the characteristics of music that I like. Horns, organ, good dynamic music, and a very unique vocalist. And on the way in this morning, I realized, wow, I never put this together. The vocalist for Blood, Sweat, and Tears sounds a lot like the vocalist for Third Day.
Oh, really?
He has that, I call it a baritone sound.
Yeah.
It's a very unique, gravelly baritone sound. They sound a lot alike, and by no means are they the same person. I don't even think the lead singer for Blood, Sweat, and Tears is around anymore. If he is, he's a lot older than you guys. You know, he's 70, 80s, something like that. So it certainly isn't the same guy, but same type of music. So our listeners or viewers, do the test. Check out these two bands, Blood, Sweat, and Tears and Third Day, and leave a comment to see if you think if they sound the same.
Okay.
I think they do.
So what was the reasoning for getting the Third Day CD?
Third Day CD I got this months ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I found this in a thrift store in Pace, I think it was.
Gotcha.
I got like 3 or 4 Third Day CDs.
Okay.
Do you remember what gets on my nerves about Third
Yes.
Day? Okay, good gosh, I still can't listen to it.
Right.
I can't listen. Just the way he.
Is it just that song or the band
No,
just in general now?
It bothers me so much that I don't even want to hear it, so I don't even look, because he does it on every album, every CD,
Yeah.
even if it's in the studio. I think, oh, why aren't you doing it in the studio?
Yeah.
Nobody's in there.
No
Anyway.
one's fault. No one's singing along with you.
Nobody's singing along with it. So
It's for the listener.
So if you don't know what we're talking about, if a band is singing a song and they want to repeat the verse or repeat the line over and over, how do I describe it? The beats before that line, the singer will try to say what you're supposed to say. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, it's almost like a prompt for the people
Yeah.
listening so they can sing along.
So they can sing
before
along.
each line you say it so that they can sing along with you.
Right.
Yeah.
And many times what he does is he tries to put too many words into the space that he has, and he's and then you're supposed to go back into worship. And,
Right. Which we have digital projection technology now. You can project
Please
words.
use it.
Yeah.
Dude, please use it. I would love to listen to your band more. Not
Right.
that you care, but anyway.
No, I totally get it because I hate it when people talk in the middle of their songs
Man,
too.
I can't stand it. I can't stand it. So anyway, I'm going to do a deep dive into some of those sometime in the near future.
Okay.
But I wanted to. I'll switch off and throw it to you here in a second. But I had a. If you know, I have Meniere's disease, right? Mm-hmm. Yesterday, I had an episode first time in about a month, but I've been feeling it come on because I get a little airheaded and go, feel like I have a cold or whatever. And so I was sitting there watching TV yesterday morning, and my world just goes, it just fall over. So I reach for my medication, I take it, I crawl in bed, start sweating. My whole bed is just totally wet from sweat and breathing heavy and shallow and all that stuff. And I'm just sitting there waiting for it to pass. I'm going, please go away, please go away, please go away, please go away, please go away. And after about 2 hours, it goes away. So, but then I can still hear what's going on, whatever. I really wish it was just quiet. But TV was on, and it was on something I didn't want to hear, and I couldn't reach the remote. I certainly couldn't get up. So I just lay there and get over it. And the weirdest thing I've noticed that my cat Bobby reacts different to me and responds different to me and interacts different with me after I've had an episode. Mm-hmm. She's not a very affectionate cat. She'll let me go up to her and smooch on her and scratch her, but she'll disappear if anybody else comes in there.
Yeah.
But after that day, and that was yesterday. Mm-hmm. So we had class last night. So my whole goal was to recover enough to go and go to class. So I sat down, and man, she came up and she looked at me. She doesn't normally look at me. She'll get close to me, but she came up on the bed where her bed is. And she's just staring at me. She was looking at me like that. And she comes over off of her bed closer to me, which she never does. My chair is the one I sit at, watch TV, is just off the bed, and I'm leaning on the bed. She comes up over halfway to me, and I swear you think I'm making this up. I put my hand out just close to her. She puts her paw out like this. The opposite paw and opposite hand. So my hand's here and her paw's right here. And she's just looking at me like, man, am I hallucinating? Because she never does stuff like that.
Yeah.
Animals sense
Never.
things, though. They know things are wrong. There's a dog. That's why they have certain dogs that will act, like for PTSD, and he said that they know something's coming on. So cats are not stupid either. So
Yeah.
they know when things are going
I'm
on.
confident. I whenever I regrouped and got a hold of myself, I let Donna know, and Donna believes it. And there are. I'm a part of these Meniere's disease Facebook things, so I've learned a great deal from everybody around the country and around the world who is suffering with this. And one of the questions is, are there service animals for people with Meniere's disease? And most of the people that have an animal, they just had a pet prior to being diagnosed, and the pet just so happens to be able to come up to them and let them know before they're having so they weren't trained, but they just had a sixth sense about these things,
Well, it's weird how like the cocktail of chemicals that our bodies produce during different things.
So it's got to be a smell, right? That they're sensing.
A lot of people think it's a smell thing. That and some breeds of dogs and cats are like more in tune to human emotions than others, like pit bulls, for instance. You know, they're very sensitive to fluctuations in your emotions or your, you know, that kind of stuff.
Right.
Your aura. But
Well, I've got an aura.
and so that's, you know, a lot of them think that's part of it is
Okay.
they can sense what's going on in you just by smell or whatever before you can. They can alert you that, hey, it's about to happen. You know, get off the road.
She may do. I'm going to start paying more attention. She may do that prior to, and I just didn't notice it. I don't think so because her and I are the only ones that live in the house. I'm very in tune to her, and she's very in tune to me.
Yeah.
You know, about our behaviors. But she has reacted after it's happened, and it comes on so quick, guys. I'm not kidding you. It can be 3 seconds. It's called a drop episode because your butt's gonna drop or you're gonna drop yourself in preparation because there's no way you're sitting up. So being on that Facebook page, I've learned that it's called a drop episode. And I have other small episodes. Y'all saw me have a small episode in before we recorded a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
But this was a drop. This was a total drop, and I know it whenever it first happens. It usually what happens. So if y'all ever see me go no, there's no need me say no because it's yes it's happening because I get that, and first thing I do is reach for my medication, take it, and just let it play out.
Yeah.
It's a heck of a thing, man. It's a weird.
Right.
It's not epilepsy. It's not related to epilepsy, but it's like epilepsy that comes on.
Yeah. It's disorienting.
Yeah, unannounced, and I don't lose consciousness like some people do whenever they're having an episode. But anyway, I just wanted to. I'm going to make more observations of Bobby, our cat, and see if she is more sensitive than I think she is. But there's a definite difference in behavior whenever I'm having those things. Not that she could do anything about it,
Right?
you know. But it'd be great if she could let me know before it happened. I don't know, but anyway, there you go.
So
That's
what do
my
you
life.
think? So you said you prefer it to be quiet when you're in those episodes.
Yeah.
So there's nothing like for instance, the music you like, you wouldn't want that playing at all. Like it wouldn't be soothing to you. Third day, nothing.
Definitely not third day. No.
Third day wouldn't bring you out of it quicker because
No.
you're annoyed.
No, dark and quiet. No, maybe Donna. Whenever before I was diagnosed, before we knew what the heck was happening, I had these episodes, and I would call Donna, and just to have her on the phone and have her talk to me.
Yeah.
That was soothing because I didn't know what the heck was happening. You know, if I ever come out of this, at least she knows where I am. And it was soothing just to hear her voice to have so. But her voice would not irritate me now. But now I know that I'm going to be coming out of this, and so I don't need that soothing. I just need quiet. Prefer quiet before dark, and just cover up and just close my eyes. And weird thing, sometimes I have to open my eyes, and then I feel a little better, and then I close them again. If I start spinning when my eyes are closed, and I open them, and then sometimes I start spinning when my eyes are open, and I close them. So it's a weird disease, man. It's just a strange. It's a strange thing. I don't know what, you know. Anyway, I'm going to see a specialist, and hopefully they'll give me a new head.
All right.
Yeah, that's my life, Chris. Come on over. You can experience all those episodes with me in my house. So anyway,
Are you living in an insane asylum?
Yes, I feel like I am sometimes. So good class last night.
Yeah.
I was a little slightly out of it, but I was there, and maybe I was hallucinating. But were you talking about giants and?
So okay,
That's not what you wanted to talk about today. I know, but it was
no,
good
but
class.
it's perfectly fine. So, you know, one of the things that we do in our small group at church is instead of the Bible study part being 100% just whatever I want to talk about, we open it up and people can ask questions. We can, discuss things. We can totally derail, whatever. But we also, leave it open for if you encounter something during the week, whether it's in your own Bible study or in a podcast, listen to a podcast, or in a conversation, or whatever. Jot something down, bring it in, and we usually do like different series in there. Like we just finished one on it was loosely based on the statement of faith that's on our church's website, Marcus Point, and not just doing the content of that statement of faith, but like where historically do these types of statements come from? And so it was really a series about church history from the first century onward to today. Well, when we finish a series, there's usually like a couple week gap, in between the last one and the next one, that I like to just sort of make it miscellaneous stuff. And like we'll accumulate a lot of these questions, and so we'll just start hitting those questions one after another, in a very like, one question might not have anything to do with the next question, but we're just going through them. And so I have several pages of these on my desk at home, and they're really fun because it's, I don't know, I just think it's fun because it shows me that there's other people out there who are interested in going beyond just the normal like Sunday morning encounter or whatever like that.
This is meaty stuff.
Yeah, it's totally meaty stuff. Well, so to make this very long story somewhat short, in this body of questions that I've been getting from, actually, we kind of joke about one person being the source of all these questions. I actually get them from several people. But one thing that's sort of been trending lately is stuff about giants and fallen angels and like this thing called the Book of Enoch.
Let me interrupt you just for a second. I think it'd be okay if that person, we name that person first name because she listens. So who is it that asks you most of the questions? Her first name only?
Lee, yeah.
Lee is the she asks a lot of good questions.
Yeah, she's by far the majority of them.
Yeah,
but I get questions from several people.
So thank you, Lee. I know we know you listen.
So lately, and not just in our small group, but in other conversations elsewhere, because I help lead a Bible study on Tuesday nights. As well. And it's been coming up there too. And so I'm like,
oh, okay.
Why don't we just take a week, it ended up being 2 weeks, just to devote what in the world is going on with this whole concept about the Book of Enoch and the Watchers and the fallen angels and giants and all that stuff.
And so it was not, and we dedicated the whole hour to it also for the most part for the last, so it wasn't just a half hour.
Yeah, because there was kind of like two criteria.
Yeah.
Because of the controversial nature of the material, I was really kind of going for, one of those weeks where we didn't have any guests.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to do that with guests.
And so the holidays are kind of, suited to that because we don't really get a lot of guests on the holidays. It's kind of like the core group. And so it worked out really well. So we did this 2-week series on the Book of Enoch. And looking at the historical context of it, how it shaped the worldview of the people that lived in ancient times and all that kind of stuff, and showed how, even though it's not canon of Scripture, it informs us about what the worldview of these ancient civilizations would have been, and use that as a lens to look at some of the things that we read about in Scripture that otherwise seem a little confusing.
It can, very much so. Boy, taking one paragraph or one sentence out of something like that.
And so it was really, really fun, and I'm glad we got to do it, and it's something that's kind of been on my bucket list to do for a while.
It can be so controversial that Josh felt the need to ask one of our leaders, is it okay for us to study this? And he said, I trust you. I don't think, I've told you this before, I don't think he would trust everybody
Right.
to study that, but he knows your background and your
Right.
abilities.
And I think there's a level of trust there that wasn't going to delve into like conspiracy
Right.
theories and aliens and
Which can do,
You know, all that kind of stuff,
man,
yeah.
it can be done so easy in that stuff. when
our
it's saying it.
focus was still the canon of Scripture.
Yep, yep.
But we used this as sort of a side tool or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah. Chris, have you ever studied the Book of Enoch or done any study? You're a historian, so have you ever studied any of it or know anything about it?
I've read over some stuff a little
Okay.
bit. I mean,
I think you'd like it. It's really intriguing. I mean,
Yeah.
it is. I think you'd like it.
You've probably encountered similar ideas in other historical materials because it was like the worldview of the Akkadians and the Assyrians and the Babylonians and stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, gotcha. Anyway, thanks for going through
Yeah.
that. Did you want to also talk about what you originally wanted to talk about?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of along the same lines. Not that we're going to be getting into the Book of Enoch, but one of the things that was mentioned this past Sunday in the Sunday morning service, I sort of like focused on that. Like this would be a good one to concentrate on or to talk about in the Bible portion of the podcast. Because it's one that I hear often, and that is there seems to be a difference between the God of the Old Testament and the God of the New Testament. The God of the Old Testament, people always like to point out he seems like he was always mad and he was always judging people and wiping out entire civilizations and all this kind of stuff. And so it's almost like the God of the Old Testament was this angry old man in the sky, this God of wrath. Yeah. And then you get to the New Testament, it's like, oh, God is love and
More of a hippie God.
Yeah, more of a hippie God, right? And everything's great, and he's happy with everybody and loves everything, and so I want to kind of dig into that a little bit because nothing could be further from the truth, really on both ends of that question, because in the Old Testament. Yes, we do read several times about God pouring out his wrath on one thing or another.
Yeah.
But, let me turn to a verse here in Exodus 34, because this kind of will be the jumping off point for this. But Exodus 34, verse 6 and 7. It says, the Lord passed before him and proclaimed, the Lord God, merciful and gracious, long-suffering, and abundant in goodness and truth, keeping mercy for thousands, forgiving iniquity and transgression and sin, and that will by no means clear the guilty, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children's children, unto the third and fourth generation. So it's interesting here. God was having a conversation with Moses at this during this time. This is the verses immediately prior to this is he hewed 2 stables of stone likened to the first, and Moses rose up early in the morning and went to Mount Sinai as the Lord had commanded him, and took in his hand 2 tables of stone. And the Lord descended in a cloud and stood with him there and proclaimed the name of the Lord. And that is the introduction to the verses that we just read. So this is after Moses goes up the first time, gets the commandments on the stone, comes back, sees the Israelites worshiping a golden calf, throws the stones down and breaks them. We have that whole thing happen, and so now he's going back up. He gets 2 more stone tablets, goes up the mountain to get them again, and so. What's interesting about how God begins this conversation right after this whole thing with the golden calf happened is he says, the Lord God, merciful and gracious, long-suffering, and abundance in goodness and truth, keeping mercy for thousands, forgiving iniquity and transgression and sin. So he starts that conversation reminding that he is a forgiving God. He's a merciful God. He's a gracious God. He's long-suffering. He's abundant in goodness and truth, all this stuff. he does put the caveat in there. He's like, now this doesn't clear the guilty. Like this doesn't, just because I'm still acting towards you with long suffering and forgiveness and all this, it doesn't clear the guilt. Like that guilt still has to be atoned for, but my attitude towards you is still one of long suffering, being long suffering and loving and all this stuff. And so there's kind of these two sides of the same coin that have to exist simultaneously, and they're mutually exclusive. One is, not necessarily mutually exclusive, but they seem that way.
Yes.
God's love and His justice, because the penalty of sin still has to be atoned for, and yet there's the nature of God which compels Him to love us in spite of that. We read that in Romans, right, where He says, while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. That's how God showed His love for us. The same thing exists here, because even though there was all this sin that was happening, God provided a mechanism for atonement for that sin, so that this imperfection we have by virtue of the fact that we're naturally sinners, there's a mechanism for atoning for that, so that we could still be in the presence of God and we could still maintain that relationship with Him. However, on the other side of that is, sin is still a problem, and it's dangerous, and it's a cancer that infects anyone that it comes in contact with. And so whenever you see God's position towards sin being described in the Old Testament, it almost always is careful to point out that God is like the wrath of God. He's long suffering. He's patient. Like it takes a lot for God to finally bring judgment. I mean, case in point, in the first couple chapters of Genesis, it was 120 years from the time that God gave Noah the information that the flood was going to come. It was 120 years between that and the time the flood came. So 120 years was how long it took for God's wrath to be realized. I mean, think about that in terms of, like, it's 2025 right now, 1905. This is like what Wright brothers are first experimenting with their plane. That kind of, there's a long time of, we've gone from the first human powered flight to now we're exploring Mars. In
that same time period,
that span of time, that was the same span of time where God said, flood is going to come. I'm going to judge mankind, and the flood actually came. So God's always long suffering, and He always gives plenty of advanced warning that His judgment is going to come, because He gives people the opportunity to turn away from their sin. And it's only after they refuse and they refuse and they refuse that judgment ends up coming. And there's an interesting reason for that judgment, especially in an Old Testament perspective, because here again, going back to the narrative of Noah and the flood, the reason that God brought the flood that's given to us in Genesis, one of the reasons is because of how evil mankind had become. And so after the flood, we see God making a promise that He's never again will He destroy the earth, the entire earth, like He did with the flood. However, you still see sin infecting the entire planet and all of humanity. And God deals with that differently than He did during the flood. Instead of waiting for sin to infect all of humanity so that all of humanity has to be wiped out, He deals with it a civilization at a time. And even still, among all the nations, there's this one nation, Israel, which is the mechanism by which He's going to bring about the Messiah. And so even prior to Christ being born in the Gospels in the New Testament, those thousands of years prior to that, there was still a way for, if you were not a member of the nation of Israel, you could become one and you could have a relationship with the God of Israel. that invitation was always open, and that invitation was always broadcast to the other nations. Case in point, in Joshua, when they start conquering these different nations, there's like all the nations knew about Israel in advance of their coming because their reputation had spread. But also, when they were in the Promised Land, there's this time in particular where the nation of Israel went to two mountains. This is deep in the heart of Canaanite territory. It's modern day Shechem, and it's the same place where Jesus encountered the woman at the well in the New Testament. And it's bounded by two islands, by two mountains, Mount Gerizim and Mount Ebal. And so half of Israel went to one side, half of Israel went to the other side, and they start reading the law to each other in this natural amphitheater in the heart of Canaanite territory. The entire nation is reading the law, and in that law is instructions on how, if you want to be, if you want to acknowledge the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the God of Israel, the one true God, here's how you can do it, and you'll no longer be an enemy of God. You'll be part of us, and so that invitation was always open, and it was broadcast to the nations around them, and some took that opportunity. The Gibeonites, for example, ended up becoming absorbed into Israel, became people that were the groundskeepers of the temple, that kind of thing. And so, and then we read about individual cases like Rahab. She became part of Israel. Ruth, who was a Moabitess, she became part of Israel. There's case after case after case where the invitation was not only offered, but it was accepted. And one of the more abrupt ones was when Jonah was sent to Nineveh, the capital of the Assyrian Empire, the nation that eventually conquered the northern kingdom, enemies of Israel for generations. And this was their capital city, evil nation. And Jonah was sent to them, told them about God, and they instantly turned on a dime and escaped punishment. Now they eventually, went back and Nineveh was destroyed, but we see that destruction and judgment was held off because, at least for a time, they did turn to God. And so we see that time and time again in the Old Testament, is that God is long-suffering, he's patient. Sin has to be atoned for. There's still a matter of guilt that has to be dealt with. But God was doing it on a nation-by-nation basis rather than letting it spread and become a global problem that had to be dealt with in a global solution. It was nation to nation.
Gotcha.
And so this whole premise that the God of the Old Testament was a God of anger, a God of hate, whatever, is totally untrue, because all of that stuff, his attitude towards these other nations was an attitude of protection, because he was protecting Israel from the wickedness of these other nations. And the primary reason he was doing that is because of who was going to come from Israel. The Messiah was going to come from Israel. And so Israel had to be protected from that infection. Now, they sort of jumped the gun and pursued all those things. And actually Israel and Judah were judged more severely than the pagan nations around them were, because this was God's people, and they rejected God and pursued these other ones. But God's attitude towards sin had always been one of protecting his chosen people from the effects and the influence of that sin, whether it was judging the nations themselves or judging his people that were pursuing the practices of those nations. But when we get to the New Testament, there's this attitude that Jesus addresses with the Pharisees and the religious leaders of the day, and even his own disciples at some points, that because Israel is God's chosen people, there's something special about them. That if there is going to be a gospel message, it's only going to be for God's chosen people because we're God's chosen people. And Jesus was careful to point out, no, it's not just for Jerusalem. It's for Jerusalem, Judea, Samaria, which was the old northern kingdom, and the uttermost parts of the earth. It was Jew and Gentile. Later on, the New Testament says there's no distinction between Jew and Gentile other than what they do with Christ. And in Christ, we're all the same. And so what's so compelling about the rebuttal to that idea of God being a God of anger in the Old Testament is all of that stuff that happened in the Old Testament was God's way of protecting his people so that the Messiah could come, which was God in the flesh. God came and tabernacled among us, like it says in John 1, so that God himself could become the mechanism that took our punishment for us. So the God of the Old Testament was the same God of love that we see in the New Testament. It showed itself in different ways just because of the context, but it was the same God. It was the same love. It was the same mechanism that was the way of salvation. It's always looking toward what Christ did for us on the cross. He died. He was buried. He rose again, and he took the punishment for our sins. And I think that's such a neat consistency to see throughout the entirety of Scripture when you look at the God of the Old Testament and the God of the New Testament purely in the context of what Christ was either going to do one day on the cross or he did on the cross in the past. And I think that's what unifies the entire idea.
Awesome. Josh, you mentioned a group of people were pretty much given the gospel on this natural amphitheater, right? And it occurred to me, I wonder if the people that stand on the corners here in Pensacola and present the gospel, I wonder if they're influenced by that. Do you know, has that ever been studied, or do you know anything about that? I'm guessing it's
Are you saying like they're operating in that tradition?
Yeah, they're operating that tradition. Do you think that's happening?
Well, I don't think so, because that instance in Scripture, God told them to go to these two mountains. One was going to be the mountain of blessings and one of the mountain of cursings. And, the people on one mountain were going to read like, if you do this, judgment will come. If you do this, blessings will come. And, the two mountains were sort of reciting that to each other. So I think there's a dual purpose there. It was reconfirming the covenant that God made with Israel.
Okay.
But they were doing it in a public way so that the nations around them could hear the same thing and could hear that there was also an invitation to the nations around them to join into that, to become part of that covenant. And I think that's different than like the street preaching, because the street preaching is all about we're going to convict you of your sin.
That's what it seems like to me. That's what the signs are saying, and that's what I hear them say.
Yeah, I think the Mount Ebal, Mount Gerizim thing was more passive.
Okay.
It was making sure that the invitation was heard. The street preaching seems to be more of an active thing, like I'm going to talk to this, what I think is an apostate person driving through the intersection, and I'm going to tell them that God hates sinners, and all this stuff, and hold up a couple poster boards of Bible verses, and hoping that makes a difference. And maybe it doesn't. Some people,
maybe it does.
Some people it does. Some people it doesn't. I don't know.
I've said
not really my place to judge.
Right, mine either. I've often said I'm glad I have not been called to do that, and I mean that sincerely, because those people have been called in their head. They have been called to do that, as it does not matter what the temperature is outside.
Yeah.
They will be out there doing it. If their church has called them to do it, or whoever, I'm sure that they feel like God has called them to do it. And I'm with you. I'm not judging them.
Right.
I'm just glad it's not me that's having to do that type of ministry.
It's funny too, because like, if I'm going to be convicted of something or convinced to join in on a particular set of beliefs, the way my brain is geared, that's not the way to do it.
That's not going to attract you, is
That's
it?
not. If anything, that's going to push me away from
Right,
it. It's,
right.
it's the same as like when I'm shopping for a vehicle. I don't want to talk to a car salesman.
Yeah.
You know?
Let me do all the work,
Yeah.
all the research. I
Yeah.
know what I want. I know what I don't want.
Exactly, and like that style of proselytizing, whatever, has never appealed to me.
Yeah, same here.
However, that doesn't mean that there's not people out there that doesn't appeal to.
Right.
You know, it's just that's not how my brain works.
You know, and it just makes me wonder. You know, there's so many times that we hear people say that I never thought I'd be doing this for God. You know, I'm such an introvert, but yet I'm preaching now. Who knows? Maybe some of those people are saying the same thing. I would have never, a year ago, 2 years ago, I never thought I'd be standing on a corner.
Yeah.
But I feel so strongly that I've been called to do this. You know what I mean? I give that to them. That could
Right.
very well happen. But boy, I tell you, I don't know how it would happen.
I wonder
to me.
how I would have reacted to John the Baptist, because John the Baptist seems like that.
Yeah, right.
You know,
That's right. Yeah.
A voice of one crying in the
Yeah,
wilderness.
sure.
You know.
Sure. I totally get it. That's exactly right, man. That's right. So now I'll be honest with you. I fight not judging them whenever I'm
Oh,
on a
absolutely,
corner
yeah.
trying to get around and I hear somebody screaming at me. I fight not judging them.
Right.
But at least
And if that's the only time a person ever hears anything from Scripture or the gospel message, they're still held accountable for the information that they're
yeah.
that might be filtering through their
Right,
their
yeah.
windshield
Yeah.
at a red light in Pensacola.
Yeah, right. I tell you, if you have a drop top or a convertible, you hear them, man.
Yeah.
If you're in the corner, it's not like you can roll your window up. They are there yelling.
Yep.
But God bless them. That's what they're called to do. Anyway, thanks, Josh.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Chris. Appreciate you. And thank you for listening and watching. And we love you all. Donna, I love you. And we'll see y'all for 100, baby.
Yeah. Next episode's 100.
And I'd like to throw one thing out. The day this airs will be my wife's birthday. So
Is
happy
that
birthday,
right,
J.
Dell? Happy birthday, J. Dell.
Do you know 1 in 365 people have the same birthday you do?
1 in 65?
365.
300.
I'm just kidding.
Happy birthday, J. Dell. We'll see y'all later. Bye.